Let's be honest. Most of us grab a carton of milk and don't think twice. You pour it on your cereal, into your kid's cup, into your coffee, and you just assume it's real, safe, and exactly what it claims to be. But here's the scary part. Not everything that looks like milk, tastes like milk, or even has the word milk on the front is actually the real deal. Today, we're counting down 7 fake milk traps to avoid at all costs. From harmless but misleading sugar bombs, all the way to sketchy chemical milk you never want near your kitchen. And stick around until the end, because I'll give you 3 simple rules to spot safe milk in seconds. No lab tests needed. Before we start, let's clear one thing up. When I say fake milk, I'm not talking about legit plant-based milks. Almond, oat, soy, coconut. Those are usually clearly labeled as plant-based drinks and follow their own rules. In this video, fake milk means things like drinks that pretend to be milk, but are mostly sugar and additives, imitation dairy where natural milk fat is swapped for cheaper oils, counterfeit powders copying real brands, and, in some places, straight-up adulterated liquids being sold as milk with some pretty sketchy ingredients mixed in. We're talking about tricks, shortcuts, and fraud. Not your favorite oat latte. To build this list, I looked at 3 things. How easy it is to fool a normal shopper, how different it is from what you think you're buying, and the potential risk from meh, not great for you, to absolutely not, this could be dangerous. And quick disclaimer, this is general information and opinion, not medical or legal advice. And we're talking about patterns and categories, not calling out specific legal brands by name. All right, let's jump in. At number 7, we're starting with the kind of bad, but not the end of the world stuff. Milk-flavored sugar bombs. These are those colorful bottles and cartons called things like milk drink, energy milk, or vitamin milk. They might have some real milk in there, but they're loaded with sugar, flavors, stabilizers, and random additives. You think you're buying milk? Nutritionally, you're closer to a dessert. You'll often see them pushed at kids with cartoon characters and bright colors, which makes them even more deceptive. The big red flag here is when the front of the pack screams milk, but the ingredient list on the back is long, complicated, and has sugar very high up. That's not your classic glass of milk. That's basically a milk-themed soft drink in disguise. At number 6, we've got non-dairy creamers trying really hard to look like milk. You've seen them. Powders or little tubs for coffee and tea, with pictures of creamy white liquid splashing into a mug. But flip that label, and you'll usually see a mix of vegetable oils, corn syrup solids, and additives. They're not milk, they're basically flavored oils, designed to look milky when they hit your coffee. Now, to be fair, these products are typically legal and clearly labeled as non-dairy creamer, coffee whitener, or tea whitener. The problem is more about expectations. A lot of people assume white thing in coffee equals milk. Not quite. So if you're trying to cut down on ultra-processed stuff or you actually want the nutrition of real dairy, just know, these creamers are playing a different game. Number 5 is where things get a bit sneakier. Imitation or filled milks, where the natural milk fat has been swapped out for cheaper vegetable oils. On the shelf, they can sit right next to real milk, with front labels showing happy cows, green fields, and a nice big splash of white liquid. But inside, the texture, flavor, and nutrition are not the same as standard milk. These products are often aimed at very price-conscious buyers or specific markets, and sometimes people don't realize they're not getting traditional milk. The big giveaway is on the ingredients list. If you see vegetable oil high up for something that's branded like normal milk, that's a big red flag. You might be okay with that, but you should at least know that you're buying a milk-style drink, not classic dairy. At number 4, we're talking about suspiciously cheap UHT milk from unknown labels. UHT, or shelf-stable milk, on its own is not the villain here. A lot of reputable brands offer perfectly safe, good quality UHT milk. The danger zone is when you find super cheap cartons from a brand you've never heard of, with almost no information attached to it. If the price seems unreal compared to every other carton, the company has no real online presence. There's no clear address or contact info, and you can't find any recognizable quality or safety marks. You have to wonder, how are they making money on this? In some parts of the world, very cheap milk has been found diluted or tampered with because it's much harder for consumers to detect issues in a long-life product. Not every cheap carton is bad, but when it's mysteriously cheap from a totally unknown label, that's worth a second thought. Before we jump into the top 3, quick pause. If you've ever opened a carton of milk that smelled fine but something just felt off, maybe the texture, maybe the aftertaste, tell me your story in the comments. And if you're finding this breakdown helpful so far, hit like so more people can avoid getting scammed by fake milk. Alright, my top 3. Number 3 takes us into the online jungle, counterfeit milk powders. These are powders that copy the look of big, trusted brands. Similar colors, similar fonts, sometimes almost identical logos. But they're made in unlicensed places with zero real quality control. Sometimes testing has shown way less protein, vitamins, or minerals than what's promised on the label. The scariest part? These are often aimed at babies, older adults, or people with medical needs who rely on that nutrition. When you're mixing a bottle for a newborn or a shake, for someone recovering from illness, you want the real thing, not a knockoff with mystery contents. Some warning signs. The price is way lower than normal for that brand. The printing on the can or bag looks fuzzy or off. There are spelling mistakes. The packaging design looks almost right, but not quite. Or you're buying from a random online seller with no proof they're an authorized distributor. If you wouldn't trust them with your personal data, don't trust them with your formula. At number 2, we're getting into the stuff you absolutely want to avoid. Chemically adulterated street milk. In some regions, investigators have found milk that's been heavily watered down to stretch profits, then fixed with chemicals like urea, detergents, starch, or harsh agents to fake thickness, color, and freshness. So you end up with a white liquid that looks like milk, but it's basically a chemical cocktail. This kind of milk often shows up in loose, informal setups, big metal cans, unbranded plastic containers, or door-to-door sellers who can't show a license or proper documentation. Red flags include no brand, no label, no traceability, and a product that has a weird soapy foam, a chemical smell, or a burning sensation in your mouth or throat. If the milk experience starts to feel like a science experiment, that's your sign to walk away. And at number 1, the worst of the worst, totally untraceable milk and nutrition drinks. These products might call themselves Bone Power Milk, 100% premium nutrition milk, super health drink, or some other big promise, but everything about the package feels off. You pick it up and notice there's no real manufacturer name or physical address, maybe just a generic brand name. There's no customer service number, just a sketchy email. There's no clear batch number, production date, or expiry date, or the dates look tampered with. The label might be in a language not used in your country, with no proper translation, and the product is making wild claims like fixes joints, boosts brain, cures everything, with zero real certifications or approvals. Sometimes these products are imported in bulk and repacked, so if something goes wrong, there's no one to call, no way to track the source, and no realistic chance of a proper recall. If the people behind a milk or nutrition drink are basically invisible, that's not a beverage, that's a gamble, especially for kids, older adults, and anyone with health issues. So, how do you protect yourself without turning into a full-time food inspector? Let's switch gears and talk about 3 simple rules to spot safer options fast. Rule number 3, the front vs back label test. On the front, for real dairy, you want to see clear names like whole milk, 2% reduced fat milk, or skim milk. Those names are usually defined by local rules and standards. On the back, The ingredients list for plain milk should be super short, usually just milk, maybe plus vitamins or minerals that have been added. If the front screams milk in giant letters, with cows and fields and all the wholesome vibes, but the back reads like a mini chemistry textbook, vegetable oils, gums, flavorings, sweeteners, stabilizers, then you're not buying simple milk anymore. You're buying a milk-style product. That might be okay with you, but now you know what it really is. Rule number 2. Make sure someone is actually checking this milk. Look for a legit brand name you can search online, a website, a physical address, or at least some way to contact the company. Check for regulatory marks, inspection codes, or quality logos that are actually used and recognized in your country. And don't ignore the packaging itself. If the carton is bloated, leaking, rusty, or looks like it's been kicked around a warehouse, that's not a good sign. If a company is proud of their product and playing by the rules, they usually don't hide. If you can't find them online, can't contact them, and there's no sign that any official agency has ever looked at this milk, that's a strong reason to put it back. And rule number 1, the big one. Where you buy matters just as much as what you buy. Stick to reputable grocery chains, well-known delivery services, or farmers and local dairies you genuinely know and trust. Be extra careful with random market stalls selling unlabeled milk in reused bottles, super cheap online listings for premium powders and nutrition milks, or sellers who refuse to give receipts, documents, or any proof of origin. On top of that, use your senses. If it smells sour before the date, looks chunky or separated when it shouldn't, or tastes chemical or off, do not force yourself to drink it just because the label says it's okay. Your nose, eyes, and taste buds are often your best early warning system, so we've gone all the way from harmless milk-flavored sugar bombs, to fake powders, to straight-up untraceable milk products you never want near your family. The good news is that once you know the red flags, confusing labels, suspiciously low prices, no company info, and sketchy sellers, it becomes way easier to stick with safe, honest milk. Now I want to hear from you. What's your personal milk red flag? Is it the smell? The taste? A certain kind of packaging? Drop it in the comments so other people can learn from your experience too. And if you want more breakdowns of foods you thought you could trust, hit subscribe and tell me what I should cover next. Fake juices, fake olive oil, or something else entirely. Remember, your milk should come from cows or clearly labeled plants, not from a mystery factory nobody's ever heard of.